is the manufacturing, core manufacturing process, not the service industry. But in the below, I have seen some KPIs like IRR, NPV. So it may be related to our industry, but I don't
Yes,
think
yes.
this manufacturing process,
Yeah,
it's
anything with the manufacturing, you can just have, for example, in the session, if it is part of the syllabus, I feel it's ethical responsibility to go towards that. Otherwise, I have important question, we can just do that and maybe we'll pass also. So first we'll try to do this, but as a student, you can have an idea of manufacturing, but focus more into the service, what we are doing.
so how it is relate to our receipt industry.
Yes, our business.
Yeah,
Ultimately, it's all about your business.
yeah.
You have to see, okay, this model can I fix in here? Okay, if not, it's fine. I've understood, but I will not revise much. I'll not invest time in this. And towards the end, it's all about practical. If you are not able to explain it to yourself, if it doesn't make sense to you, it's fine. You don't need to use. It's very rare that CIMA will ask you models. Why? Because before passing, before coming to management case study, you guys have to do this E2 P2 F2 under FLP, okay? Or you have to pass this paper individually, E2 P2 F2 again. So that means the student has the knowledge. So it doesn't make sense for them to test it again. What they are trying to test here is the application. And for the application, they'll try to give examples from the industry itself. Industry as in, what is the industry level issue? For example, here, the biggest issue can be after sales service, right? Or another issue with the pricing can be, we have to buy in bulk. And as we are selling used products, we cannot sell it at a very big price, right? We have a cap, maybe 50% of the new product, 60%, 70%. That's it, not more than that. Make sense?
Yes, Miss.
Understand the logic, why, and how it can help the business. Don't think just from a finance person, though they have told you you are a finance manager, but think as if you are the CEO. You are running the entire show here. Every problem is your problem. And risk becomes a very important point, whether it's strategic case study, management case study. Risk questions are there. As I've told you, come up with like at least 30-40 risk what we are facing and how we can mitigate that. That will uh, make us in a comfortable position. Okay, one question is done. Clear? Yeah, so I am still waiting for others answer what Abhijit, Akshay, and Amir has answered. I need to know from Bhaskar. Yeah, Amir also. What did you study over the week? Wali?
Yeah, I just scroll like over the document. I saw like the different like the methods how it can relate to the rest of our company. Like the most of them are really interesting, but this like more for like the business stuff or the finance stuff. The I already know. So like there is not like something new for me, but still was interesting. So like yeah.
How many hours are you putting?
Sorry.
How many hours are you studying in a week?
Uh, so I'm trying to study per day like around 1 hour or 1 hour and a half. Apart that, I just read a lot of books, like about the different types of the businesses.
Nice, nice. So yeah, that's good. If you're getting knowledge out, it's not mandatory to read just this note. This is very
Yeah,
limited.
yeah, I agree because like I'm planning to take the exam like at the end of the August, and maybe they will change like the about
Yeah,
another
the pre-scene
production.
will change. So in your
Yeah,
case, you
yeah,
can focus on all the topics. You don't need to just focus on research.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah, sure.
in your case, they might come up with a manufacturer.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to read like about the different books, Alibaba or like the Amazon,
Yes.
like
Read
about the oil manufacture.
read about the WeChat. This for everyone. How WeChat has changed China. It started with just chat, but now it has become one platform for everything: buying, selling, payment transfer, and at the end,
Yeah.
it's all about convenient.
Yeah.
What is more convenience for us? Let's say now WhatsApp can have a global payment system soon. I was just thinking, what if uh, WhatsApp, the Meta acquired PayPal?
Yeah.
It is possible, isn't it?
Yeah. And the
Because
main
now
one.
most of the population is using WhatsApp, and it can make payments very easy.
Mhm. I mean, if we check like any of the manufacturing or production company, the main point, which is the external factors, which is influence for the company, is like exchange rate and like
Right.
the tariffs, like imports and exports, as we know what happened like the last year was like China and the USA. When the
Right.
USA increased like the taxes.
Good point. Yes, and that can be a challenge if you want to go outside our lamb land also.
Yeah, the same thing like for the Japan for nowadays. They will have until I think after 2040 they will have like the recession because they have a problem with demographics. Like after 10 years they will have like around the 60% who is over like 60 years old, and which means like they prefer to spend more money, which means the spending will increase, and the problem for the bank will be they will try to keep like the money. While the like we know, like Japan is like one of the biggest population with also business manufacturing, and they should like if they're like the inflation or base rate will start increase or decrease, which will influence for every world, for every country, then for nowadays, the most of the money of the Japan is keeping like in USA, and they try to keep like in dollars. However, because of that yuan exchange rate starts to increase, decrease, and for the Japan, they lose a lot of money because of the demographic problem.
Right. Good point. Yes, that's interesting insight. The population has become very old. Right. Yeah. Santan and Vali, did you guys do anything over the week?
Yes, I read the document, the P2 document. Well, not fully, but I started until like 7, 8 pages, and it was a bit
Okay.
long. And then I also focused on the Excel sheet, the Excel sheet that you gave before.
Right, right,
Yeah, so I made the financial analysis, a bit of BOD as well.
right.
Misbah, I have studied first two chapter and tried to understand what type of question will come. So first two chapter I have read.
And the P2. Okay.
Yeah.
What about the Pre-Scene Bhaskar?
Reason no, I didn't
Yeah.
see.
So read the Pre-Scene first today after the session,
Okay,
because we have to see this notes from that perspective.
okay, okay.
We are an e-commerce company, right? I told you last time also, which is selling used electronics. So first read that, get some confidence on that. Then if we come here, it will make more sense.
Okay, okay.
So usually what happens when we did, for example, the previous time, November, we didn't have the pre-scene, or let's say the students who are going for May exam, they won't have the pre-scene very early. So we might have to do this document or this notes in a generalized way. Then we apply to the scenario when the pre-scene is out. But now luckily we have the pre-scene already available and we are going for the second attempt. So we have a lot of information that is making things easier for us. So we need to utilize. Hello, Anmol, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Anmol, you are writing for this Feb?
Oh, no, 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 no. I will probably currently I'm waiting for funding from my employer, so I probably might do the one after that in May. Uh,
Okay.
yes, yes. I got some time.
Sure,
But
sure.
yes, yes, yes.
I'll talk to you after the session. No
Okay,
problem.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
No,
Thanks for joining.
no
All
problem.
right. So we'll start with chapter 4, data required for decision making. We'll try to discuss, what data is important for our business. We'll try to keep it more of a practical. Okay, we have to utilize, and we'll make sure that we discuss what type of question can come from here and what can be the answer. Honestly, if I tell you, if you focus in the class itself, your 60-70% things will be done. Okay. So data required for decision making. Anywhere we make decisions is based on the data, right? Nowadays we are talking about data a lot in every industry, but previously also, if you see, or if you know any small businessman, or if you have done any startup in the past, we also try to look for the benchmark. And what is benchmark? Benchmark is the data. Or sometimes the data for decision making can be just about the cost. What is the cost and how much margin we are looking at, right?
So the benchmarking, is it not like the highest company, like the monopoly?
No, benchmarking means just comparing with others.
Compare, yeah. I mean, they compare with the top company.
Yeah, it can be with the top companies, it can be with the bottom companies.
Yeah, like resell, we can compare us with Amazon detailing.
Maybe, but that's a different topic. What we are talking here, Amir, is about data. Any information what we have to take the decision, that's based on the data. For example, now when I say that, okay, we are lucky that this is the second time and we have decided to do this. So this was also a data. It helped us to decision making. So everything what we do is based on the data, isn't it?
Yeah.
But now things are changing. It's not just generalized, it has become very, very special.
Yeah, I
Companies
agree.
are tracking everything. In fact, for example, if you're using iPhone 17 and if I'm using, let's say, a previous iPhone, so we both can get a different pricing. It's very, very unethical, right? And again, if it is in a rich country, rich locality, then the prices are high. If it is in a other locality, the same product, same service, the price is different. Just 1 second. I have found a very good video day before yesterday. I was doing research. I'm just thinking if I can have the link. We'll just see, because I wanted to show in between, but now I realize the chapter itself is about decision making, and that video is directly focusing on the decision making. And mostly they are talking about e-commerce, and we are into e-commerce. Just give me 1 second or 1 minute. Let me search. I think this is. So we have to. Okay, I got it. So what we have to see here is we need to understand how decision is being made based on the data, and it's not just about the pricing, but it's about everything. And that's what this chapter was also trying to show us. Can you hear the audio also?
No.
You can't hear the audio? Now I just pause it. Now
No.
tap to share. You can't hear the audio still?
No.
No.
Okay. Sorry. Just give me 1 second.
But you probably already.
This is the story of a little piece of technology
Now I think audio is coming, right?
Yes.
Yes.
that you have been taking for granted. Almost every time you've gone to the store, this little guy has been fighting for you. It's called the price tag. And over the past decade, companies have been on a secret mission to kill it without you noticing. The scary part is they're actually getting away with it. And that's because a lot of us who grew up with the price tag just never realized how radical it really was. Back in the 1800s, shopping was like a game. The clerk would charge you based on what they thought was important at the time, like the length of the line, the time of day, or how rich you looked. If you didn't like the price he named,
20,
you'd haggle.
15, 17, my last word. I won't take a penny less or strike me dead. 16, done.
The Quakers had a problem with this. People were paying different prices for the same product, and that was unfair. So they started posting prices. Other stores followed suit, and this one-price system completely changed how Americans shopped. You could more easily compare prices between stores, and that pressured stores to lower prices. In the 1930s, Stan Avery invented what he called come clean adhesives. The name didn't stick, but the product sure did. Soon enough, price tags were everywhere. Each of these stickers was like a little handshake. It represented an agreement. One price for every customer. But now, that agreement is breaking. With AI and automated surveillance, corporations are turning shopping back into a game. Except this time, all of us are going to get played.
Tonight, hidden threat to your wallet.
It's a practice called dynamic pricing.
The price of your groceries may soon change right in front of your eyes.
You've probably heard about dynamic pricing. It's the reason Uber prices keep changing and flight costs jump up and down.
Feels like we're constantly being taken advantage of.
It can send concert ticket prices through the roof. Companies are using algorithms to instantly change prices based on demand, competition, and what they know about their customers. These algorithms are in a race to identify the highest price at which a sale can still be made. And customers don't exactly love it.
Whoever invented dynamic pricing is going to hell.
Dynamic pricing bullshit.
Okay, let's chat about the ticket prices, shall we? Oh my lord.
Let's be clear. Price changes are the language of capitalism. It's how we talk to each other about supply and demand. In some cases, having algorithms make these changes can benefit both customers and companies. But as dynamic pricing proliferates, companies are also using this technology to take advantage of customers. And they're doing this in 3 ways: the illegal way, the legal way, and the definitely should be illegal way. Let's start by breaking the law. Now, back in the price tag days, collusion took a lot of effort. The bosses had to sit around a table with their competitors and smoke a cigarette and agree to raise prices without getting caught. But today, with pricing algorithms, collusion is just a few clicks away. When a bunch of individual companies sign up for the same algorithm, they can effectively collude without ever talking to each other. Just look at what happened with RealPage.
Software firm RealPage is accused of scheming with landlords to keep rents high.
Landlords subscribing to the service would input data about their apartments, including location, square footage, and amenities. The algorithm would tell them how much to charge for rent. But the algorithm wasn't designed to determine the market price, it was designed to maximize landlord profits. So it did all the things that would have been done in a backdoor deal with an ease that old-fashioned colluders could only dream of. It advised landlords to price their apartments above the market rate. And if demand was falling, it told landlords to leave apartments empty rather than reducing rents. The company boasted that their algorithm raised revenue by 3 to 7%. This scheme impacted over 3 million apartments across the country. And as a result, Americans were overcharged by billions of dollars. Now, the good news is that this model is likely illegal. In fact, the Justice Department sued RealPage.
That's classic price fixing.
Earlier this week, RealPage settled the case, agreeing to change its business practices. But even if this model of sharing the same algorithm is illegal, this model, where each company uses its own algorithm, is legal. New research suggests that even when companies are using different algorithms, prices still go up. Let's say you run a gas station, and your biggest rival is over here, on the other side of town. Throughout the day, you're constantly afraid that your rival is stealing business by offering lower prices. And you're constantly trying to steal business from them by cutting your own prices. This competition is painful for you and your rival. But guess who benefits? The drivers. Fast forward to 2025, and you and your competitor are both using dynamic pricing algorithms. They're different systems, but they both do the same thing. They constantly monitor the other station's prices and immediately match any price cuts. The result is a stalemate. You both stop trying to undercut each other on price, because you know that the other station would immediately respond. So prices stay high, and both of you make more money. But guess who loses? The drivers. They end up paying more for gas. A study of gas stations in Germany found that stations that adopted algorithms were able to charge prices 15% higher than before the computers took over. And researchers are finding similar patterns in a growing number of markets. This would help explain why companies are so eager to ramp up dynamic pricing. Digital price tags that allow retailers to update their prices instantly are already in use. And even small stores can play the big data game. Shop owners can rent pricing algorithms for as low as $79 per month. And that brings us to the definitely should be illegal way that algorithms are used to take advantage of customers. These algorithms aren't just studying competitors, they're also studying you. Companies want to know how much you make, how you make decisions, your emotional triggers, and when and where you're willing to spend. So they're tricking you into handing over this information by offering you
My McDonald's Rewards gets you breakfast before work.
We're rewarding you with
$, off your next purchase.
These programs do offer loyalty discounts, but make no mistake.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words,
You are the reward. Loyalty programs have become massive data harvesting operations. Sign up for My McDonald's, and with one small checkmark, you've given the company permission to track your geolocation, internet history, and social media. The grocery store chain Kroger has stated they have over 60 million household profiles. And unlike McDonald's, they're not just using this data themselves, they're selling it to other companies. So, what's the harm? Well, companies have already been caught quoting higher prices to people logged in on fancier devices, and offering higher priced products based on browser history. It's easy to envision how things could get worse. Imagine a drugstore chain increasing the price of your medication by hundreds of dollars because they know you need it. Or that a rental site knows that you need housing immediately because your new job starts in 2 weeks, so it ups the rental prices that you see. Imagine that your city faces a boil water advisory.
Boil water advisory is in effect.
And so an algorithm raises the price of bottled water. Imagine that your smart speaker overhears a conversation in which you mention that you're out of paper towels. And so, knowing you're about to make this purchase, it ups the price. This is the future of the price tag. A series of algorithms that study you, that stalk you, that do everything in their power to squeeze every possible cent from your pocket. Governments are starting to take these problems seriously. Regulators have pursued companies that use algorithms to collude. But we still need stronger laws. Legislatures should regulate when companies can change their prices. They could even set a single time for price changes, like 6 a.m. That would restore the need to compete on price. Governments also need to limit the use of personal data by both rewards programs and pricing algorithms. Buying has always been a sort of game. As algorithms take over, the future, with its personalized prices, may at times resemble the past.
I won't take a penny less or strike me dead.
But unless lawmakers step up, you'll be up against something humanity has never faced before. The constant dread of wrestling with an algorithm that just won't lose.
So that's what the data we are talking about now. I think they have not talked about so much in the AI in the text, but maybe in this exams they might ask. So there are a couple of things they have discussed there. First thing about the pricing, and you must have noticed about that digital price tag. That is also becoming common now. So in the same supermarket, two individuals can see a different price tag on the same day. Now we have to see this situation in two scenarios. One is like, as a consumer is definitely losing trust on the companies. And as a business, we have to look at it in two different. First is, are we ethical in doing that if Ressett is doing? And secondly, obviously, we don't want to compromise the profits. If everyone is doing in the market and if we are not doing, we can be lacking behind. Right? So what do you guys think? If you have to take that decision, let's say we are going into dynamic pricing at Ressett. That's what the chapter says, data required for decision making. We have got the data.
Yeah, so before to go ahead with the dynamic pricing, I think they should analyze the full market of the same the market of the Ressett company, and see it is really hard to make the dynamic pricing, because sometimes if the rivals they start to increase the price, and if you decrease the price, the customers will start to think the quality of the product is really low. So before to sell any of the price, we should analyze the product, I mean the market. But in my opinion, it will be better to do the oligopoly, the formal agreement with the top with benchmarking companies. Then it will be better to set the same price for all of the company rather than to play between each other. In oligopoly, if we enter into the when the revenue cost less than the total cost, it will be worse for us. And also it happens when we start to decrease the price with dynamic pricing. I'm sorry if I said something wrong, because I didn't realize economics.
I'm just thinking how it might affect, and also we are into the used products, so that might also make the difference. Yeah. And another point is about the ethics. How do you think ethically it can affect us?
Do you mean ethics?
Ethics of business, because
It,
if you see in the
in the
video, they are
company.
saying it's illegal. Illegal is obviously we cannot do, but other companies are trying to find loopholes. And ethics is like something is legal, but it's not benefiting. It's not benefiting for the society, not the ecosystem.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mr. Bakar, Akshay, anybody want to answer that? What the ethics?
See, Ressett basically, as you said, we deal more of the used products and the not much. It's a very small market size where only to sell. So if you keep doing this dynamic pricing of increasing, decreasing, and all those things, we might land up losing customers, or it might not help. Rather, maybe the same dynamic pricing, I would say we can look at little tweaking it, saying you use something called as weekend pricing model, or any particular day you offer on a specific day, you give some discount. That will help rather than changing in a very fast manner. That way, it will help. Definitely, dynamic pricing or for a product like in recent for whatever we sell, it might not help. It will affect the customer's interest also, because on the same day if somebody buys at a lesser cost and higher cost, we might land up losing the trust of the customer, the people. Rather, you can make an announcement like how Amazon does generally weekend pricing or any specific day peak time. If you order or you book in this time, you might get some attractive discounts. That might help, which is normally accepted practice.
Don't you think we'll lose if our competitors are doing that?
Yes, so I have also the same point. We can lose our customer trust. If we,
That's what I'm saying. We will lose
yeah,
our customer trust
yeah.
if we do a high amount of dynamic
Because
pricing.
ultimately, we are getting the same gross margin if we uh, stay on the same price, or the price algorithm what we have in the market situation, based on the market situation. So we don't lose our the customer, the historical customer.
See, my point was, I don't know if I'm not putting it correctly. Rather, don't follow dynamic pricing, because that much of dynamics we might lose business or customers. Maybe we can offer something like on a specific day, like what I said, Amazon and other few companies give this year-end discount, Dhamaka sale, something like that, Christmas period, some specific days you order at specific time, you might get. That's a practice which we can do once in a while, just to boost up some sales and get our revenue targets, not on a regular basis. So in that way, if I think the risk of losing customer is little lesser, rather using when we, it is more when we use a dynamic pricing.
Right. Technically, we need to find a sweet spot where we are unethical, and also where we are not compromising on the margins.
But in this Misbah, the dynamic pricing, if you look at it in today's world, it's like the airlines, for example, they do it all the time. I mean, like when they are about to the flying time happens, or the ticket, it's last days of travel, suddenly the rates will either shoot or either they will go down. It depends on what they do basically. So it is like dynamic pricing works for them to close the last tickets for the flight, before the flight, right? So this is now most of the airlines take advantage of that also, and then they suddenly, just to close the sales, sometimes they offer very good discounts, sometimes they just jack the price for seasons timing. So I don't know that part. How do we tackle it basically? This is like there is no question, there is no rules are coming where there should be a capping of the prices. Now recently the Indigo issue happened, and that time the other airlines and everybody just increased their prices, right? So there has to be some way to sort it out. I mean, this is what I think.
Right. I mean, in airlines and all, it makes sense because the margins, everything is very thin, and they also have to do it. But when it comes to basic necessity and what is happening with this shopping malls, where they're selling our food basic, right? If you go outside there, that is very unethical. And especially with the retail pricing, maybe on the same day we buy same thing, but we pay different price. And they're coming with this digital pricing that is very unethical. Maybe
digital pricing might not suit industry like Ressett.
Sorry?
No, digital pricing adoption of that technique or that model might not work in favor of the business for like Ressett.
But Amazon is using it successfully.
But in Amazon, Misbah, it's a huge like, and they sell every single thing around the world, like almost everything. So maybe it's and the volume of customer over there, the data and everything they have huge. For us, it's kind of we are just selling a specific second-hand PCs and laptops, so it's difficult for us to change price every day because customer also do the research. Like if we are selling something of X, they're definitely gonna check our competitor how much they are selling it. But like Amazon is doing it either way, it's not good for customer, I feel, and for
Right.
their reputation. Later on stage,
This is,
customer will realize they are making fool. The same way we studied this one, and especially in terms of necessity goods, it's kind of against humanity. I feel sometime if it is doing with the normal food products and all.
Yeah, definitely it is. It's not good, but the government should come strong. They are not
Yeah.
because they are being lobbied.
Yeah, it's most of the time, but I hope government should do something against it.
However, one good thing is people can easily compare now. At least they'll have a basic idea. If they go to Chat GPT, if they just go to AI, they can compare, or we have comparison website as well. So that is pricing is one aspect of that, but data is required for all the decision making. Let's say in our case, we are doing provisions for after sales service. So we need to have the data like, okay, out of let's say 100 units, we are getting 2 units. So 2% maybe we have to keep for provision. That's what is the core of this chapter. Effective decision making in management accounting relies on the availability of relevant, accurate, and timely data, which we have for decades. But at the same time, we might have to buy sometime data from outside, or in fact, a lot of acquisitions and mergers are happening in the industry just to acquire the data. They're not looking for anything else but just the data. Managers require both information, that is like cost, revenues, budget, and non-financial like quality metric, customer satisfaction, operational efficiency, sustainability. Because if you try to cut cost and if it is reducing the customer satisfaction, it's not worth it. So maybe don't give a lot of discount. Customers will understand and they'll be ready to pay some 10-20% premium, but justify it why it is. To evaluate alternatives and support strategic objectives. What is the strategic objective? Maybe to grow in the market or come up with the new products, go into different industry. It can be anything. So all of this will come with risk and opportunities. For example, here they have talk about relevant cash flows. So in the future, what kind of cash flows we are expecting? Incremental, only extra cash flows that occur as a result of decisions should be considered as extra cost revenues. Cash flow, only cash items are relevant to the decision. So when we are making a decision for the cash flows, don't consider other items, just consider it for the specific items. Otherwise, we'll have data for one and we are using it for different one, different area. It can be a problem. Then we need to also consider about opportunity, avoidable, and differential cost. What is opportunity cost? We have got something. Let's say we have warehouse. Okay. We don't use that to keep our electronics. Maybe we don't have that much raw materials, or inventory, not raw materials. So we can at least lease it, give it for rent. If you don't give it for rent, that is an opportunity cost for us. Either give it for rent, sell it off, or utilize it. Then avoidable cost. If you're in let's say we have certain resources that is not being used, we can avoid that cost. That we need to see. So data can also be used here. It's not just for the pricing. This is internal. How we know it's an opportunity cost? Because we have data. We have avoidable cost. That is again data. Differential or incremental cost. This can be defined as the difference in total cost between alternatives. So maybe let's say we are selecting a supplier, or we have some company or vendor who is giving us software service. Like we saw in the video, as $79 per month, they are giving dynamic pricing software. Let's say one company is 79, other one is 59. So we can see what is the difference between them. Many times what happened is the same company who gives 59 also, 79 also. They want to give options to the competitors, I mean the customers. That's also a trending thing in the market. The same company will be outside in the market with different names. So people will think, okay, they are getting options, but ultimately whatever you do is going to the same company. Then there are also some cost or some information which might be, very big, but it's not helpful. Maybe it's more about the emotional attachment we can say our companies have done in the past. First is the sunk cost. Sunk cost, which is like in the past we have done something, maybe it didn't turn out well. Let's say we decided to have some new kind of products and we are not getting that response. Now we have two things. First is to continue market that product, assuming that we have invested so much. Or second option is, okay, accept that we didn't do well and move forward. Consider the previous investment as a sunk cost. It should not have effect on the future. Then absorb fixed overheads. Fixed overheads that will not increase or decrease as a result of decision being taken. Let's say we have a factory or we have a warehouse.
Electricity. You can say electricity. I mean, absorb fixed overheads. We can say also electricity. No?
Electricity, you are saying?
Yeah.
Maybe it can be semi-variable, but yeah, salaries. If we have some less work for certain, we don't want to lose our employees. So salaries can also be a fixed cost.
But I don't think like the salaries is fixed because like if we'll see like deflation or inflation, then we need to increase the salaries as well according to the interest rate.
Yeah, I mean it depends. If you are paying already higher than the industry, maybe you can keep it for 1-2 years at least. So usually we are talking about in the same year. Then historical cost is depreciation, then notional cost. These are just as an example where your information or data might not help.
Okay.
Just as an incremental cost. What is incremental cost? It keeps on going up. Are the difference in cost between alternatives. Then another thing is important, the source of data. Now why these companies are able to do this kind of dynamic pricing is because they have got so much of data which is accurate. If you remember what they say in McDonald's, they also track your social media completely. So people keep on posting on social media, then they'll understand, okay, these people are affluent, they can afford it. And based on that, they'll have the hardware. They know what hardware we are using, and based on that, they'll price. So sources of data is also very, very important. Data are facts and figures. Okay, what is the difference between data and information? Can you tell me?
Information, when it is put into a proper structure, what we want, which will help us to take some meaningful decision, then it becomes data.
Then it becomes information. Data is actually...
No, okay, sorry. It's either way around, right?
Yes, I got it. Yeah, what you're trying to say. Yeah. So information is when we are, for example, this notes. If you have not read it, it's just data. But if you have understood it, are able to apply to Ressett, what it has become an information for you guys.
Information, right.
But the same thing, the same data can be of different ways. For example, if somebody is using a latest phone, let's say iPhone 17, to book certain things, so companies can think, okay, these people are rich, we can give them a premium price. But at the same time, the other counter argument can come, okay, they have bought this on EMI. Now they don't have any money to buy anything, at least for a few months, because they have committed themselves.
Right.
So don't target them or give them discount, because most of the time people are buying on EMIs. So the same data can be looked in different ways. So now we need to have data mining, we need to have analysis, and also We look at different factors. Now we are just not looking at the hardware, what that person is using, or what they are posting on social media. Or maybe if we are buying some information from the bank can tell us what kind of loans they have. Or maybe from the insurance companies, what kind of car they own.
Right.
In fact, privacy is almost gone now. If you think as a customer, it's like scary now. Everything is out. What we don't know about ourselves also, these companies know, because they are listening to us. Whatever we are talking. For example, now this class is being recorded. So maybe Google is using this information to train their AI, right? To generate the data. Then examples of Intel data can be sales ledger system, purchase ledger system, payroll, fixed asset, obviously. Externally, supplier, newspaper, journal. These are very basic when you talk about external. But in today's world, it has changed to AI, and we can always buy data from the companies. Whatever information we need, it's available. The internal, external information may be used in planning and controlling activities. For example, newspapers, the internet, the business inquiry agent may be used to obtain external competitors' information for benchmarking process. Internal sales volume may be obtained for variance analysis purpose. What is variance analysis? Variance means when we put a target and we have achieved it, or maybe we have not achieved. Let's say our target was to sell 1,000 units this week. Okay, we have sold 800, so there is a variance of 200. That's the difference. It is
Budget
called
was actual.
Yes, Abhijit.
What we have budgeted versus actuals.
Yes, yes. So instead of 1,000, if we sold 800, that means adverse of 200. Instead of 1,000, we sold 1,100. Then it is favorable of 100. So there also we can get we can get help from data. I mean, it was always there in the past. The companies were using data, but maybe it was not so much structure and it was not dynamic, or the same data was not used for different purposes. And we have seen there was issue with Walmart and some other companies, I think almost 10-15 years back, where they are using the information and they disclose all this to the political parties. They are influencing the elections, right? They have tied up the Walmart in US. They have been working with a company in the UK. I can't recall the name, but it's a very famous case. Maybe you guys have heard, because they have all the information. They know what people are earning in the community they are operating, what is their problems, and based on that, the political parties will come up with the manifestos, right? So it can be used not just for selling, but to influence and for almost everything. Collecting, analyzing, and presenting high quality data presents the following benefits: collaborative working advantages. We can get good customer insight. Better governance. Better governance means board of directors. Remember, we are unlisted business, but still having a good corporate governance helps. Risk management. We can manage risk properly. There are two things in business. First is, obviously we are planning to grow, but when we are operating, we also have some problems that can make us go down. So we need to manage risk to sustain first, or we need to continuously keep on managing risk to sustain, then to grow. So with the risk management itself, data can be beneficial. The collection, analysis, and presentation of high quality data often bring the following cost to the business: software license cost, maintenance, IT, user training, integration. So it's not like it's just benefit. What is the downside? The downside is the cost. Now you need to employ more people. You need to, or if you're outsourcing, you have to pay them, every month, yearly, whatever the contract you have done. Or if you're doing it in-house, maintenance cost, training cost, so much more. What can be the problem associated with the data? It can be duplication of the data, privacy, integrity, and security. So we have GDPR in the Europe. That strict regulations can affect our reputation. We can have a litigation issue. We can have a reputational issue, financial. We have to pay the fines. That is a financial risk, right? What else can be the disadvantage? On depending too much on data, or using data for everything, all the decision making. One thing we can say is human beings are emotional, right? I mean, again, their data is coming on there, but sometimes it's very unpredictable what people will decide, right?
Yeah.
Or on the other way, we can see many times we are saying these are affluent people. They will have usually the middle class or even the lower middle class. They are trying to buy the fashion and luxury products, but the rich people actually are living a simple life. So maybe that data, what we saw from the buying habit, is giving a wrong information. They actually cannot afford it. Right? And main thing is the privacy of the customers. What if our own employee have that access to data and they disclose it? And there was a very big issue with TikTok few years back. Maybe you guys have heard about it. They have been accused that all the employees have access to the personal information of the users. Previously, in management case study, we have a scenario, I mean, the case about this IoT, Internet of Things, connected devices. So we also used to sell this Alexa kind of devices, right? So in that, when we did industry analysis, they Google have mentioned that in their device, they listen 2% of the conversation, whatever you are talking to them, and they say it is for training. Obviously, 2% is a big amount, right? They might have millions of users, and now it is done by the employees. So many times, people talk about their password, their emails, and a lot of other things, maybe their card details, that can also be used in a wrong way, or it can give rise to some illegal things. Right? So what controls we can do for the same risk? Personal control, we can look at the background of that person, segregation of duties, policy, hierarchy of access, only few people can have access to that. Access control, password lockouts, they cannot take it outside. Computer equipment controls we can have. Let's say if any hardware is lost, then we'll remove their access to the system. Business continuity planning, BCP, you should be aware of that. Application or program controls, complete check, validity check, identification, authorization. We should have problem of facilities, or we can say the infrastructure. This you can write a generalized. Okay, what question can come from here? Maybe some of our employees are selling data to the competitors, or they're using it for their personal use. Remember, we have people buying from us online, right? So we might have their credit card and debit card details, card details. So usually how it works is the details have been saved with the company, card details, right? So that can be misused. Now they are talking about data analytics. They won't ask you how does the data mining works and everything, but you can just quickly go through it. So technically we just get data. It is not into information. To convert data to information, data mining happens. We try to, or we can say from unstructured, we make it to a structured. And again, that word structured, it depends on what is the use case of that. There was a lot of demand for data scientist, data structure, if you see few years back. But I think with the AI, that is also being reduced. Based on that, we have BI, business intelligence system, from data to strategy. Okay, we have discussed about pricing. How do you think elsewhere we can use the data, especially in terms of strategy, apart from pricing? How it can help us to come up with a better strategy?
If we have a data of product we sold in last 40 years, what kind of product gets sold, not just for customer, like for market data of what products are in demand, so we can also buy similar kind of product for our refurbished and all the stuff. Not just a human data, it could be related to products, or what policies or something we have data of our competitor as well, how in which time period they change their prices and all, like normally Amazon do, in like will they decrease the price in festive season, or these kind of data also help us to change our strategy.
Right. Yeah, again, it's coming to pricing, but internally, how it can help apart from pricing. So one thing is we can have the product mix, whatever people are looking for, what kind of things are in demand and what can be in the future. Because ideally, in second hand, people are also looking for a specific product. Maybe it can help us with the logistic companies. We don't have in-house logistic. So if we have the data, we can take the decision which company to go for, or maybe whether we should do it in-house in the future.
We can study the sales pattern, behavioral pattern of the customers, all those things with the data, which will help us for coming out with a master sales strategy. Something can be fine-tuned.
Right. Or maybe if we can get some data from the banks, so we can see if we tie up with them. Mostly in our case, people will buy in cash, but some might be interested to take in EMIs because, if you give flexibility, it can just improve sales. Now, even the basic things are available on EMI or something like buy now, pay later. Even if it is for $100, people are given an option. So that's what it is mentioned. You don't need to memorize, just for understanding. Maybe you guys have read already this user-friendly savings, business intelligence tools, comply with reporting and regulatory requirements, changing reporting standards, compliance and regulations. Intangible benefits can also have. More or less, what we saw in the video, it covered the entire chapter. So in short, we need to know what are the advantage and disadvantage of using data and how it can be used. Moving on to the next one, the investment decision-making process. So if you're investing something, this can be an important topic. In fact, many exams I have seen, they're asking question from this NPV or IRR. So we are investing and they have said, okay, we have got this much NPV, whether we should go ahead or not, or what are the disadvantages of using NPV method or IRR method. It has calculation also. Calculation they don't ask, but you should know the characteristics of both. Okay. I believe it can be asked for your FEB exam as well. So the investment decision-making process involves evaluating capital projects through techniques such as NPV and IRR and payback period, ensuring financial viability and strategic alignment. So technically, these models, if you have heard of it before also, or we'll see it now, it says if you have invested, let's say 100,000, so how much time it will take for you to recover that 100,000, and let's say the project is 5 years. In 3 years, you are recovering 100,000, and in remaining 2 years, how much cash flow you're getting, how much money you'll get. So let's say you're getting 150, so your NPV is 50,000. So you invested 100K and you have got 50,000. Same thing with the internal rate of return with the small differences. It emphasizes balancing risk and return, considering quality factors like sustainability, regulator compliance, and stakeholder impact. The process integrates forecasting, scenario analysis, and sensitivity testing to enhance accuracy and resilience. Ultimately, it ensures the investment choice contribute to long-term organization value creation, our advantage, and ethical business process. So technically, if it is positive, we might go ahead. But many times, even if it is positive, we cannot go ahead. Why? Because maybe if you invest 100K, you're like, 50K is not worth it. Or you can say 50K is on paper, but in reality, we might get only 25K. And it's not worth the investment. But on paper, anything positive in NP or IRR is usually considered profitable, because after covering all the cost, we are getting that much return. So usually for capital investment, we can make it into 3 phases: also creation, decision, and implement. Like identify objectives, what you're looking at. Decision phase. In decision phase, we have this NPV IRR and everything. And ultimately, if we accept it, then the implementation. The NPV that considers the time value of money and uses discounted cash flow technique. In IRR, that allows consider the time value of money and use discounted cash flow techniques. Same thing with the payback and all. If you want, I can give you a video where you can quickly have a look at the calculation also. It's not required, but if you want, you can. Otherwise, this itself is enough. Let's discuss now. First, we'll look at this picture, then we'll read. Okay. Let's say initial investment is $50,000. Okay. Let's say Ressett invested today $50,000. It might be, into any technology. It might be, let's say we have taken a new warehouse, anything. And now we have this cash flow. Now you can say, okay, how we are guaranteed with this cash flow? Remember, everything is on paper. Maybe this 18,000 we have got based on an analysis, or maybe the data we have. It might be a 19 in the real world, or maybe in the real time scenario we'll get only 15. That is the disadvantage. We'll come back to that. So we invested 50 now. Now you're getting 18. Let's say we are getting 18 for all 4 years. But maybe we have to pay an interest. That's also another thing. Okay. Then we need to also see the time value of money. Right? What 50,000 now in 4 years time, it's not there. So therefore, we are discounting, if you see, by 12%. So 18,000 divided by 1 plus 0.12, that means 12%. So the value in 1 year will be 16,000. 18,000 today, we are talking about today, but after 1 year, the value of 18,000 will be 16,000, then in 2 years, 14,000, 12,000, and 11,000. So if we add total present value of inflows, 16, 14, 12, and 11, it is coming to 54. So overall, it is 4,000 positive. So if you just go by this decision, we have to go ahead with it. Why we are confident? Because this discount rate, what we have considered 12%, it is considering our all the cost. Like we are talking about if you have taken loan, and when you are taking loan, obviously the inflation, all of this is being covered. What we get after all of that money is what we have considered. Make sense? Any question on this? Hello?
No, Mr.
This is a very basic example. I hope everyone can understand it. Now in exams, what CIMA will ask you guys is, we'll just give you one number like this. Okay, let's say 50,000, they have made it 70,000. They'll give 70,000 and they'll obviously not give calculation, either they'll expect you to do. They'll give you 70,000 here and they might just give you 10,000 as a positive. And they'll give you some theory, why we are using that money, how we are using it. And usually they'll ask, okay, does NPV analysis is worth it? Or what are the advantage and disadvantage of going ahead with that? That you might have to answer. and ultimately you just have to give a conclusion. Yeah. So usually any project with a positive NP is viable, financially viable, because negative is obviously not viable. If we have, let's say, two projects where we are investing 50,000 each, here we are getting 4,000, in other place we are getting 6,000. So obviously we'll go with the 6,000. But there are certain cases which is not being considered here. What can be the weakness of NPV here? Let's say just based on this decision, let's say we have two scenarios, option A 4,000, option B we are getting 6,000, the same investment in 4 years. So if you look at financials, we are saying okay, option B is profitable. But what are the other things do you can easily guess that is not being considered here?
Risk.
Very good.
It's a scale.
Risk. Yes, Wali, what's next?
The scale, like with the budget, like we don't have budget. Like suppose it's positive NPVs for two projects, but one is costing only 5,000 and the other is maybe 15,000. So we don't have money for 15,000, though it's profitable.
Yes, we can say that. Do we have? Because it's on theory, when we go for a loan, if we don't have, that might be another cost. Or even if we consider that, but maybe it can come with other covenants. Bank will have certain conditions that can also reduce the amount received in reality. What else? What else is not considered here? This is an exam question I am asking. It has been asked so many times. Almost 40-50% of the exam paper have this question, NPV. And usually they're asking the limitations. So
Sorry,
what
can I ask the same question again?
Yes, Amir, what did you say?
What was the question? Sorry, I didn't
What
hear
are the limitations of depending on NPV analysis for investment?
Mm.
So risk is one limitation, then availability of finance is another limitation.
Yeah. So let me think.
A return on the investment.
What
we are
return?
getting the profitable return, what we are getting the next 5 years.
Yeah, that is given, no? Abhijit, return is given. That's why all the discussion has started. They have given you clearly 4,000. It is profitable.
External factors like which is not directly related to our company, but the other external factors could be vary in next 5 years. Like inflation, we don't know. Like they are showing inflation are discounted at 12%, but maybe there would be some scenarios when it would increase from 12% to 16%, geopolitical reason or some instability in a country. So we never consider those things in it.
Right. So what we can say is this is considering the normal scenarios, but anything can happen.
Yeah.
Let's say in the third year, it was the year 2020 and COVID happened. So obviously things got, so this is based on the previous data and it considers the normal scenarios only.
It can also be, like suppose one project is taking 5 years time and the other project is taking like 10-15 years time to get the NPV is equal to positive 4,000 something.
Right.
Okay. Sorry, can I add something as well?
Yeah, please.
So the main limitation of the NPV strategy is that like NPV is more like sensitive to the choice of the discount rate. As we know, like when we choose like the discount rate, we're doing like approximately discount rate from the table that we have. Also, which means like the small changes in the interest rate or the inflation can significantly influence for the projects, like the project's valuation. which will change the snapshot of the any of the financial position or the financial statement of the company. And I think like if we including like the long-term cash flows, like the forecast and the risk-free flows, which will like modeling like uncertainty. So in my opinion, as I think like it will also change. I mean like before to use like NPV, we need to find another methods such as like payback. That we can use payback, IRR, or like the sensitive analysis of the company. So the company should like include like the different strategies before to choose one of them.
Right. But make sure if you're talking about something, you are able to explain. In exams, we cannot just give answer in one line. This can be read, okay, risk. Now you have to explain in few sentences. Okay. Advantages like time value of money, absolute measure, considers. What are the disadvantages? Sometimes difficult to explain to managers. It requires knowledge of the cost of capital, like using 12%, 14%. It's relatively complex. And obviously, apart from that, risk is not being considered and all of that. If we go to the second one, IRR, it is the rate of return at which the project has an NP of 0. It represents the expected rate of growth, helping managers compare investment and asset profitability requiring returns. IRR is greater than the cost of capital, the project should be accepted. If IRR is less than the cost of capital, the project should be rejected. So now here we are not getting exact number, but here they are saying if the return is higher than the investment, cost of capital. What is cost of capital? Technically, the investment we are doing in the capital. If it is more, if the return is more than the investment, go ahead. If not, reject it. You don't need to do the formula for this case study exams. Let's take a scenario here. Year 0 investment is $100 and 1 year later we got 120. So technically, rate of return is 20%. But here we are not using the cost of capital. We are not considering, okay, 12% should be reduced or 14% should be reduced from this. We are just saying it is positive. So that's the weakness of this model. So ideally, you should aim to satisfy two criteria. Do not use rates which are too far apart. 5% difference will be sufficient. Okay. For a normal project, using one positive and one negative NP will result in the IRR being overestimated. Using two positive NPs or two negative NPVs will result in IRR being underestimated. The only to get accuracy to have both at least one guess. So technically, maybe we can use both models as well. We can also have a hurdle rate, 15%. Maybe that's like a cost of capital again. Advantages is considered time value of money, very similar. IRR is percentage and therefore easily understood. It's not in money terms, it's just in percentage. IRR uses cash flow, not profit. In NP, we are using exact number profit. IRR can be calculated when the cost of capital is unknown. We don't need to have an exact cost of capital. A firm selection project where the IRR exceeds the cost of capital would normally increase shareholders' wealth. Ultimately, we are a for-profit business, right? We need to create wealth for the shareholder. What I would suggest you guys is write it down in one page. First, definition of NPV, advantage, disadvantage, definition of IRR, but definition write in your own words, don't copy from here. Definition of IRR, what you understood or meaning of IRR, we'll call it, and the advantage and disadvantage. Okay, and maybe put one example also down. That is just for your understanding. Or instead of putting a generalized example, apply to Ressett. So it's not a measure of absolute profitability. Interpolation only provides an estimate. Non-conventional cash flow may give rise to no IRR or multiple IRRs. We have MIRR in this. Yeah, actually, some of you requested that we should take a small break after 1 hour. We are already at close to 90 minutes. If you want, we can take 5 minutes, then we'll do this MIRR. Is that okay?
Yeah, can we take a 5 minutes break?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll take 5 minutes break and
Thank you.
Hello, are you guys back?
Yes.
Yes, Misbah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So basically, this models, there are like NPV IRR. Now we have MIRR, modified internal rate of return. This will take some time for you to remember. So make sure you write it and obviously read it sometime. Main thing is to understand the background of it. Usually NPV and IRR is mostly asked, but this MIRR is also part of syllabus. We can have a look at it, but make sure you read it a couple of times. Then only you will understand. Okay, so what does it do? It measures the economic yield of investment under the assumption that any cash surpluses are reinvested at the firm's current cost of funds. So what it assumes that whatever we are getting, we can reinvest back to the business. For example, we need some investment for 5 years, but at the same time, we can get some returns in between. So whatever we are getting, we are reinvesting back. If we take this example, reinvestment rate is 10%, financing is 6. Okay, we'll take here. If the total return was like 1088, and if you go with this formula, you don't remember the formula, but technically we are getting 7% return. But 7% is not actual return. That is after deducting the financing rate. If you're, we'll have a finance cost, right? So technically, what we are doing here, what's the difference here is we are considering finance cost. That is the primary point. Then capital rationing. I have not seen they are asking MIRR previously because it's not very commonly used. Or if you want, you can ignore also. Then capital rationing. Capital rationing occurs when insufficient funds are available to undertake all beneficial work. So technically, again, it's a logical point. If you don't have enough money, let's say we have got 3 projects and all 3 are profitable, but we don't have money. So which one will choose logically? Maybe the one which is within our capacity. And what kind of other filter we can put? Maybe the one which gives highest return. Then we can say the one which is the lowest risk. The one which we have experience on, we are more certain to get the profit. Again, more certain means the risk is being reduced. So therefore, the capital rationing says, if you see the objective, it's all about ranking the projects. The objective of capital rationing exercise is the maximization of total NPV of the chosen project cash flow at the cost of capital. Thus, it becomes necessary to rank project. So if you don't have enough money to do all, then rank it. And based on the rank, you can decide. But it's not always the rank 1 we will choose. Why? Because the rank 1 maybe just because of numbers, but the risk is also high. So we might go for rank 2, rank 3. Why? The returns are not that high, but the risk is low. For example, if you see at a big level, companies eventually want to come into the basic necessity. We just discussed how in food industry they are doing dynamic pricing, and why everybody wants to come there, because that industry is almost like risk free. The industry will not go in depression, because if people want to survive, they need food, clothing, and shelter, right? They might cut on all other costs. And that's the reason every big company want to come into that industry. In other industry, they might have a higher return, but here the risk is low. So ranking a project may be on numbers, but we might not decide number 1, number 2. We might go which one is less risky. Again, it depends on companies, depend on the board of directors. And obviously, it comes with a lot of conditions. The resulting NPV will be provided. For example, if 25% of capital is available for a project, only 25% of its NPV will be earned. But again, that's not actually true. So this is just an example. If you have 10 million, you have project A, B, C, D. If you see like first is 6, second is 8 million. So if you go by numbers, maybe this project B is good. But again, we have to look at the risk and so much of other things. Or if the company has 10 million, overall requirement is how much? 4 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2 is coming 14 million. So maybe we can do the first two. And third one, we'll see if we can just invest 1 million and get something out of it. But again, it's all theoretical. You cannot do 25% of the project. Can we do it? No. Our final decision can be like here, we'll ignore A and we'll go with B, C, and D. Why? Because we have 10 million. So 5 plus 3 plus 2. We're having higher thing in the first one, but we are reducing it or we are avoiding it. So technically, all these models to understand is just a starting point. The final decision is based on the management. And remember, this is part of management accounting. There is no legal requirement. We are free to decide anything. Maybe we might have to justify our shareholders. That's it. Then we have this DPVI. All these models, again, very rarely tested. This is talking about how much time it takes for it to return. This is a measure of numbers of times the project recovers the initial funds invested. For example, you have invested 10 million, like in this case. Okay. And how much we are getting in return? 8, 4, and 2.5. How much it is? 12, 14.5, right? So technically, we have got 1.45 times. Simple. Let's say you invested $100, you have got $150. So what is your return? What is your return? 1.5. Yeah, you can say 50% extra, or we can say in this is goes in times. So we can say 1.5 times. So obviously it should be more than 1. Less than 1 means it's going in loss. When the money increases, that's another thing. In million, 1.5 times is still good. Or billions, obviously it can be extremely good. But when it is in a smaller amount, let's say in thousands of dollars, you have invested 10,000, you have got $15,000. Maybe that's not motivating for the company, isn't it? So therefore, when it comes to percentage or in numbers, the value is not given. But if you do the NPV, it gives you actual value. We can say, okay, we have got, we've invested 1 and we have doubled the money. We have got 2 times. But maybe the value is too less. Is it making sense?
Yeah.
Okay, now the options. This is again very logical. When we decide on, when we are deciding on something, okay, what options we have? Let's say you're buying a car. Okay, what options you have? In the decision making, I am saying. Let's say you go and you saw a car. Okay, you visited a store. Maybe let's say a used car or a new car. What options you have? You'll go, you'll see the car. If you like it, you might buy it. Okay. Second option is you'll go and see, and maybe you don't like it, you'll reject it. So usually we think only about 2 options. First is buy it. Second is denied. But we have the third option also. What is the third option? What is the third option of decision making? Option to delay. You might like it, but you want to arrange the funds. You'll say, okay, I like it. Keep this amount, maybe 5%, and it'll come late. Or maybe you'll not give them any money, but say, okay, give me some time. I need to arrange the funds. Or maybe you want to see other options as well. So same thing for us. Whether you're using NPV, IRR, anything, you have option to accept, option to reject, and option to delay. Why option to delay? Because you want to do the risk management of that. You want to understand the stakeholders. You want to understand how much you can trust the cost of capital or whatever the number is this analysis giving. So real option theory attempts to classify and value flexibility in general by taking the ideas of financial options, pricing, and developing them. So any option just give owner the right, not the obligation. And it's not mandatory for us to accept anything just with the high NPV. So this is what I was talking about, options to delay or defer. Then apart from that, we have options to switch or redeploy, option to expand or contract, options to abandon. But switch, deploy, expand, contract, again, this is part of accept. So in short, I would say we have three options to make it simpler: accept, reject, or delay. Abandon is obviously reject. So in our exams, as we know, people and leadership skill is indirectly tested. So whenever this kind of question comes, let's say they talk about analysis of this and they're asking you advantage and disadvantage of particular model. You can talk about it, but make sure towards the end you do a recommendation. Whether you are going for it, you are not going for it, or you are delaying it. Any question on this? Explain in your own words. Okay, in case study, you don't need to go with this theoretical language. It will be very difficult to write in the same style. Now, next topic is post-completion audit. Post-completion, whenever something happened, again, looking at what is audit. If you see, audit is basically can be of different types. If it is for special projects, so there we'll see in audit, okay, whatever we intended, did we achieve or not, or whatever resource we intended and how much we end up spending. Technically, looking at the variances, then looking at what went well, what didn't went well. The primary aim of anything with the post is what? To learn this or to use this learning for the future project. For example, during a post-completion appraisal, it may be realized that project is not likely to be so profitable as first thought, and the possibility of abandoning it or terminating it early should be considered, or should have been considered. So technically, it's like sunk cost. If in between itself we understand the project is not going to be profitable or it's not worth it, it's better to stop there rather than continuing it properly. I mean, in the future. So in Middle East, in Saudi, there was something called Neon City, right? They wanted to come up with. There is a lot of buzz around that. But what is coming out now, the project has been abandoned, right? It has been cancelled because it's not sustainable or it's not profitable. If an appraisal is carried out before the project life ends and it is found that benefits have been less than expected because of management inefficiency, then step can be taken to improve it. So it's not obviously you have to cancel. Cancel is the last resort. First is you'll try to improve the efficiency. You want to reduce the weakness. You want to motivate the team. But mostly it can help for the future. The appraisal may highlight the reason for success or failures in previous projects. What else can be the benefit of that? Or maybe what else can be benefit and problems with the post-completion audit? If you can't think in Ressett terms, you can give in general. General. Hello, is the question clear?
Sorry, Misbah, could you repeat that again?
What are the advantages and disadvantages of using this post-completion audit?
Yeah, advantages is it helps to identify the problems, what has happened, and come up with corrective actions so it'll avoid future. We can avoid such type of things happening in future.
Okay.
We have more advantages over here as it written. Like we can identify the weakness of doing the post completion audit, so we can stop the project, or even we can make the changes to improve our projection and a project efficiency for future. So it's benefit us. Like nowadays everyone is doing like a weekly or quarterly or a monthly forecasting and budgeting, especially in any organization, so they know how what kind of budget they are using, what is, even they do the rolling of the budgeting, like change their budget as per the requirement. So yeah, it's a good benefit for this particular post completion audit. So it helps us to don't go into like spend a lot in the project if we know we are not getting any kind of profit or something from it.
Yeah, so advantages of the post-completion audits, it helps the organization learn from completed projects by like identifying what worked well and what didn't. So they try to improve like the future decision making, like by comparing the planned cost, time, and benefits with actual outcomes. Which means which means like they also try to make a transparency of the company and accountability in project management, which is like one of the important factor for all of the company. And the limitation of the post completion audits is that it can be, as they say, like it can be time consuming and costly to carry out after a project is finished. And also we can face like with resistance from staff who fear like blaming or like criticism. I mean, like when they scare of the critication of the other people. So in some cases, like finding any of the bad side can be too late to correct it.
Right. So technically, it will help us to improve the decision making, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We have a next chapter also, but I think we can do tomorrow because this is a little bit heavy. In every page is a new model. I have one request for you. If you can do it now, or maybe you can take some break and do it and share in the group. Whatever models we have done, especially NPV and IRR, those two models, can you just write what you understand just in one paragraph? Maybe 2-3 advantages, 2-3 disadvantage, and give one example for both of them.
Sure.
Can you do now, or you want some break and you want to write?
Fine. Like
I will share with the group, or I will share in the email later. Is it
So
okay?
you have to. That's not a problem. The thing is, you want to do now or after some time?
After some time.
Okay. So take some 20-30 minutes break, or maybe 1 hour, no problem. But do it before you sleep. Okay.
okay.
And before joining tomorrow's session, read maybe chapter 6, 7, and 8. It's small only. It's just extension of that investment appraisal. Now we are talking about the investment. So where we are getting money from. So technically in management accounting in P2, what we are focusing is 4-5 topics only on the broader perspective. One is the risk that will be done on the last. Second is about the investment, what we are doing now. And next is about the pricing, which will come after that. And the first was about the costing, which is mostly for manufacturing. So that is out of our context. So what we need to focus is on pricing, investment, risk. I think that's it. Most. Or if you have missed something, let me see. Pricing is most important for us. Then costing was not much because we are not manufacturing. Data and decision making and all. Okay, this is part of investment. So pricing, decision making based on investment, risk, measuring performance. Okay, measuring performance can also be one of them. So these 4 areas only. That's it. So overall P2 is easy. That's not a problem. Any question?
No, Misbah, do you have 5 minutes so we can keep connecting?
Yeah.
I have a...
Sure. You can wait in the call.
Okay, we finish it.
Yeah, we are done for today.
Okay,
Just you
thank
have to write and sign it.